Every theater has stories. Stories of standing ovations, stories of unforgettable performances, and sometimes stories that can't be explained. From mysterious footsteps backstage to ghostly figures seen from the audience, theaters have long been rumored to be a home to spirits who never took their final curtain call. I'm Wade Hare, and tonight we're stepping inside some of America's most haunted Broadway theaters. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these are stories that have been whispered about for generations. Let's raise the curtain, shall we?
You'd expect Broadway's oldest theaters to be haunted. The Gershwin Theatre isn't one of them. Built in 1971, it's one of Broadway's newest large theaters. And yet, it may be one of its most haunted. Today, the Gershwin is home to the blockbuster musical Times Wicked, a show filled with witches, flying monkeys, magic, and mystery. According to many cast and crew members, the mystery doesn't stop when the curtain comes down. Over the years, workers have reported encounters with not one ghost, but three. The most famous is a spirit known simply as Drew, or Dennis. Even the people who have seen him can't seem to agree on his name. What they do agree on is this: he's there. Then there's the gentleman, a mysterious figure, repeatedly spotted wearing a blue suit straight out of the 19th century. No one knows who he is, or why he remains. And finally, there's the most casually dressed ghost on Broadway, an unnamed phantom who reportedly wanders backstage in nothing more than a plain white t-shirt. Not exactly what you'd expect from a Broadway ghost, but perhaps the strangest encounters happen high above the stage. Because Wicked Times, requires performers and crew members to work among the catwalks, rafters, and hidden spaces suspended over the audience. And that's where things get weird. Crew members preparing for performances have reported feeling a hand tap them on the shoulder. A gentle touch, a simple signal, the kind that says, hey, they turn around. No one is there. No one could have been there. And yet, they felt it. Others have reported seeing what appeared to be a swing performer, standing stage left watching the show. Perfectly normal. Until the figure suddenly stepped behind a nearby curtain and vanished. Not walked away. Not hidden. Vanished. Some say Broadway's ghosts prefer the grand old theaters. The Belasco, the Palace, the New Amsterdam. But perhaps they're drawn to something else. The lights, the music, the applause. Because even one of Broadway's newest theaters appears to have attracted a few permanent audience members. And if you ever feel a tap on your shoulder backstage at the Gershwin, you might not want to turn around. Some Broadway ghosts make themselves known with footsteps. Others prefer something more personal. A whisper, a touch, or a tug on your hair. Welcome to the Eugene O'Neill Theatre. Today, it's home to the Book of Mormon. But according to actors who have worked there, they may not be the only performers in the building. During the 2006 revival of Sweeney Todd, cast members began experiencing strange, unsettling events. Objects mysteriously fell from shelves. Not small objects, dangerous ones. Gardening shears, tools, props, items that should have stayed exactly where they were placed. The strange part? No one was near them. And the activity didn't stop there. Actors reported feeling their hair suddenly pulled. Others said they heard their character names whispered directly into their ears while standing on stage, only to turn and find nobody there. Then came the smell. Without warning, the scent of lilacs would drift through the theater. Strong, distinct, impossible to explain. One actor even lost a whistle from a pocket that never left the stage. Weeks later, it was found in the basement among costumes on what theater workers call the dead rack. How it got there remains a mystery. Even Broadway legend Patti LuPone had her own encounter. Her dressing room doors reportedly opened and closed on their own. One day, she felt sure she had stepped backward onto a friend's foot and apologized. But her friend was several feet away. No one had been behind her, or at least no one she could see. Then came actor Merwin Ford. Between rehearsal and the evening show, he took a nap and jokingly asked the theater for a wake-up call. Hours later, he was jolted awake by what felt like a sharp slap on the bottom of his shoes. The room was empty. Yet somehow, he got his wake-up call. Many believe that Eugene O'Neill holds multiple spirits, a male presence, a female presence, and rumors of critic Edith Oliver's ashes scattered beneath the grounds. Maybe it's old buildings, maybe it's imagination, or maybe when the audience goes home, someone else is still waiting backstage.
Broadway's haunted theaters, the Richard Rodgers Theatre. Some Broadway ghosts lurk in darkness. Others, apparently they enjoy musicals. The Richard Rodgers Theatre, now home to Hamilton, may be one of Broadway's most quietly haunted theaters. And according to the people who work there, the spirits seem perfectly happy to stay for the show. During the run of In the Heights, performer Luis Salgado reportedly saw the ghost of a small child standing just off stage during a performance. Not backstage, not in the audience, watching from the wings, as if waiting for a cue. But that may have only been the beginning. The theater soon became known for increasingly strange activity. Red lipstick smudges repeatedly appeared in the ladies' room mirrors. No matter how many times they were scrubbed away, they always returned. Stall doors opened by themselves. Dressing rooms echoed with unexplained sounds. Objects suddenly flew from shelves. And after midnight, things became even stranger. People reported hearing howling sounds through the empty theater. Chandeliers swayed when no one was there. Footsteps echoed through dark hallways long after the building had closed. One night, the theater's doorman became so unnerved that he reportedly armed himself with a baseball bat before investigating the noises, just in case Broadway's ghosts got aggressive. Then came the sightings. Multiple employees, completely unaware of each other's experiences, began describing mysterious red-haired figures appearing throughout the theater. One witness claimed to see a woman sitting alone in Box B at 2 a.m. Another spotted a man in the mezzanine. An actor reported sensing the comforting presence of his late mother, herself an actress, and also a redhead. None of them knew the others had seen the same thing. And perhaps the strangest part, nobody describes the spirits as frightening, only present. The cast of In the Heights began joking that the theater's ghosts simply loved musicals too much to leave, which makes the Richard Rodgers Theatre the perfect home for Hamilton, a show filled with characters singing from beyond the grave. Maybe the theater just appreciates a good ghost story. Or maybe, when the curtain falls and the audience goes home, Broadway's spirits are still sitting in the dark, waiting for the next performance.
What if Broadway's most active ghost was also its friendliest? The New Amsterdam Theatre has seen countless stars, but according to actors, musicians, stagehands, and employees, one never left. Her name was Olive Thomas. Almost a century after her death, she may still be performing. The signs begin subtly. A cold spot backstage, a flickering light, a voice when no one is there, footsteps in an empty hallway, or most unsettling of all, tap dancing on a deserted stage. The story begins in 1915. Olive was a glamorous Ziegfeld Follies performer who danced at the New Amsterdam before Hollywood came calling. She became a silent film star, married into one of America's most famous families, and seemed destined for greatness. Then, in 1920, while visiting Paris, tragedy struck. Olive died at just 25 under mysterious circumstances involving a bottle of poisonous medication. Her body was returned to New York. Her story should have ended there, but many believe it didn't. Years later, workers reported seeing a young woman backstage, blonde, beautiful, often carrying a small blue bottle. The descriptions stayed remarkably consistent. Even stranger, many witnesses had never heard of Olive before reporting her. As decades passed, the sightings continued. Then came the 1990s. Disney purchased the aging theater and began a massive restoration. Construction crews repeatedly saw a woman wandering through empty areas, carrying a blue bottle. One theater executive became a reluctant believer after hearing unmistakable tap dancing above him in an abandoned section. He rushed upstairs. No performers, no workers, no one at all. Today, Olive's presence is so well known that her photographs are displayed at entrances throughout the theater. Employees greet her when they arrive, just in case, and perhaps she greets them back. Before a performance of Aladdin, a nervous conductor reportedly asked for luck in her dressing room. Moments later, 4 bulbs flickered on and off, then stopped, as if someone had winked. Maybe it was coincidence. Or maybe Olive Thomas is still Broadway's eternal hostess, a performer who loved the stage so much she never truly took her final bow. And if you hear tap dancing in an empty theater late at night, you might want to applaud, just in case.
The Belasco Theatre, Broadway's most haunted stage. Some theaters have ghosts. The Belasco Theatre may have an entire cast. Standing on West 44th Street, the Belasco is often called the most haunted theater on Broadway. And honestly, once you learn about its creator, that starts to make sense. The theater was built by legendary producer David Belasco, one of the strangest men Broadway has ever known. Belasco was famous for dressing in priestly robes. He was known for explosive tantrums, and he built himself a secret 10-room apartment directly above his theater. Not a small apartment, a palace. It reportedly featured a ballroom-sized dance floor, a steam room, a genuine medieval fortress wall, a church pew said to have come from Shakespeare's church, and a collection of hidden wall panels that visitors definitely weren't supposed to find. Naturally, he traveled between the theater and his private kingdom using a small elevator. And that's where things get creepy. According to Broadway legend, a beautiful blonde actress once rode that elevator to Belasco's apartment and never came back down. The story claims she was pushed down the elevator shaft. Today, theater employees still report seeing a mysterious woman with blonde hair wearing a robin's egg blue dress wandering through the building. Some productions even embrace the legend. It's said that if a character wears a blue gown during the show, the ghost remains calm. No blue dress? Good luck. But the blonde woman isn't the only spirit said to haunt the theater. Many claim to have seen a tall figure in flowing robes, silently watching from the shadows. The description is always the same: an older man, long robes, a commanding presence, looking exactly like David Belasco himself. The strangest part? Many of the sightings come from people who have never heard the ghost stories. New actors, stagehands, crew members. They report seeing a blonde woman in blue or a robed man watching from the darkness. Then they're shown old photographs, and their faces go pale. Because the people they saw match perfectly. Maybe it's just Broadway folklore. Or maybe David Belasco never really left his theater, and every night, after the audience goes home, the show begins again.
Deep in the heart of Times Square stands the Palace Theatre, grand, glittering, grand, and, according to legend, deeply haunted. Since opening its doors in 1913, the Palace has hosted vaudeville stars, Broadway legends, and generations of performers desperate for applause beneath its glowing marquee. But when the crowds disappear and the stage lights fade, many believe something else awakens inside the theater. Late-night crew members have reported hearing the building's ancient elevator rattling violently between floors, even when the power is shut off. Others speak of blood-curdling screams echoing from high above the stage in the darkness of the fly space. Some claim the theater is home to more than 100 restless spirits trapped within its walls. And some of Broadway's most famous ghosts may still linger there. Among them is Judy Garland, who headlined at the Palace throughout the 1950s. Stagehands working alone late at night have described hearing footsteps in heels slowly pacing stage left. Locked auditoriums have reportedly filled with the faint sound of someone singing "Over the Rainbow" to an empty house. But Garland may not be alone. In 1935, acrobat Louis Borsellino plunged during a vaudeville performance after missing his partner's grip high above the stage. Though he survived the terrible fall, some believe the agonized cries heard in the rafters still belong to him. Others believe the true spirit haunting the theater is C. Tahar Ben Belhassan, another acrobat who performed at the Palace in 1926. Before taking the stage, he reportedly joked, "They say opening acts always die at the Palace, but C. Tahar no die." Hours later, he was found dead in his dressing room. The theater's shadows are said to hold others as well. A pale woman in a flowing white gown has been seen sitting silently in the orchestra pit, clutching a cello no one can hear. An early theater manager with mutton chop sideburns reportedly wanders the backstage corridors before vanishing into the darkness. And then there are the children. Audience members and staff alike have claimed to see a sorrowful little girl watching performances alone from the balcony. On the mezzanine level, a young boy is sometimes heard laughing softly as toy trucks roll across the floor, even when no child is there. The Palace Theatre has spent more than a century entertaining audiences, but some say the show never truly ends.